Too good. How are you doing?
Oh my God, what the hell was that? Did you
I don't
just hear
know.
that? Or was that just my computer?
What time is it for you? Because I'm really bad at time zones. I don't even.
Oh yeah, me too. Honestly, you confused the fuck out of me earlier when you were like, yeah, can we do 24 hours earlier? So tomorrow, I was like, wait, tomorrow's today. What are you
Tomorrow is
talking
today.
about? That's why I like double confirmed. I was like, do you mean like this coming to yeah. But it's 7 p.m. right now, but
Okay.
it's kind of already getting quite dark, which is a bit sad. I
But
appreciate
what
you
are
like
you sitting?
getting
Is that a piano behind you?
yeah.
Oh my gosh. Where are you?
I'm in my living room.
Oh wow. I like the vibe in here. Your living room is sick. When are we hanging out? What the heck?
Come here and you can hang out in my living room. You can play
Got a
my piano
bar in your
because I
living
can't.
room? I
I can't.
love it. I'm so about that.
Hello everybody, welcome back to my channel and welcome back to Daniel, who's been on here for like I think 3 videos. So this is number 4, a continuation in the series. And we've honestly come so far since the last time we spoke. It's absolutely insane. You just dropped Evolving back then and now your debut album is out. So let's just start right there and be like, how does it feel to have that out there like now?
It is unreal. I really didn't think I would ever drop that record when I started working on it. And even when I started releasing the singles, it was too much of a dream to possibly actually happen. So it is just surreal to finally have it in people's hands, to see it performing really well. And yeah, I'm excited to keep continuing that story too.
But if you say it was like almost too good to be true or it was too much of a dream, when during the whole process did you realize, okay, no, this is actually happening? I am putting out an album and it has, is it 16 tracks, 15?
16
16
tracks.
tracks, and some of them are really long. So a
Yes, they
lot of
are.
work went into that. So when was that realization as in like, this is happening, this is real?
Yeah, it was actually because of the Evolving record. The whole reason that I never thought this was going to happen was I just didn't think I had the means to pull it off how I wanted to. Like, it was an ambitious record with every song being as experimental as all the songs are and tapping into different genres. Like, I needed to have a lot more ability than I did when I started writing it if I was going to execute it the way I wanted. But after the Evolving record with Giovanni, that record was the closest I had ever gotten to releasing something at the quality I wanted. Like, it was very clear, like, we're starting to figure this out. Like, we know what we're doing a little bit now. And so I talked to Giovanni. Oh man, when was that? Pretty dang soon after we finished the Evolving record. I talked to Giovanni and I was like, look, I know this is different because it's not a full collaboration project, but would you be willing to mix and master like a solo project of mine and still spend hours with me in the basement while I record it and stuff like that? And he was like, let's freaking do it. So, we had to hit that level where we could actually make this project, reach its full potential. And Evolving is what gave us the confidence to finally go for it and do it.
And I must say the production is so good. Like, obviously you redid the production on something like Bulletproof Umbrella, Inside, Floral Mask. And I remember putting on the album for the first time and like hearing those songs, which I obviously knew, and I was like, whoa.
I love it.
There was such a clear difference. And then that just kept on going through the entire album. And I was like, oh my God, I will need literally weeks to process this because it was like so much.
Yeah, we spent a lot of time on sound design, and I did the production side, which is the more like the sound selection, the where the sounds need to fit in, things like that. And Giovanni's mixing, like, for one, I grew a lot as a producer by watching Giovanni for the last few records we did together. And then Giovanni grew a lot in mixing and mastering after I brought him to the studio when we tracked drums for the record. And he got to pick Jonathan Hendrickson's brain for a while. Jonathan's who did, we recorded Carry Me and we recorded and he produced King Suffering Part 2 for Crown and Chains. He's wicked talented. So Giovanni got to just pick his brain all day that day and came out of there like lit up on mixing and mastering. So, you know, that sound design, the sound selection, all those things, it took a lot of work but it was also, you know, it was a lot of work that we finally were capable of doing this time around. So it was cool. It was really cool.
And the sounds, they definitely contribute to this feeling of it being this world that you enter in, like a lot. So I'm just like imagining you sitting somewhere on the floor, just going through these endless sound libraries, like nope, yep, nope.
That's pretty much with fire dancing. Giovanni sat in the sound selection chair and I just tell him when to stop. After those first two, it was like, he was like, we need to switch seats. You need to just do it. Cause you know, it's weird. And I don't understand it. Giovanni definitely doesn't understand it, but I really do have really clear sounds in my head that I'm looking for when we work on a song. And I never know how the frick, like, I don't even know how I like the Killa synth. I don't know how I heard that before I heard that, but you know, I knew what I wanted and it took forever to find it, but we did find it. Or even like stuff like using the sound of printers in the end. Like I was really strict on it needs to be printers making those drum noises in the end. Like that's what it has to be. I don't know why my brain does that, but you know, it definitely, it's part of it's fleshing out the world, part of it's making sure you feel the right thing, and part of it's just if it doesn't sound the way it sounds in my head, I'm going to be kind of ticked off. So we got to make it happen.
But that's so cool that you have such a clear vision and yet that you managed to follow through with it as well, and that it works. But is it for that album, for example, was that all finished before you actually started doing the songs, or did some of the songs evolve while you like made them to the sense where you're like, oh wait, I know what's missing, it's this sound, or we need to change the sounds in that way?
It was a combination. You know, there's songs like My Anchor and The Show. Those were always pretty much exactly how I wanted those to sound. Obviously songs like Inside got a total change between the first and second version. They're drastically different songs. But there were songs like Finally, everything you hear up until the breakdown was from my laptop 2 years ago. Like that, I wrote all those sounds 2 years ago. But the breakdown, when I heard it with fresh ears that I originally had, was horrible. It was just not good. It was not satisfying. I didn't know what I was doing. And so we scrapped that, redid that. And when we redid that breakdown, it changed the way we hit verse 2. It changed the way we hit the bridge. And that happened with a lot of the songs. I think the song that changed the most was title track, Uncaged. That song was originally like almost like a Queen piano ballad, like the first parts of Bohemian Rhapsody, kind of like it had more of that vibe. And the reason was I didn't, at the time that I wrote the record, Crown and Chains was still around, and I didn't want to step on toes with the sound, with the genre. I didn't want to go too far to the rock side. So, you know, the record was going to have a little bit more of a mellower pace to it. And once the band broke up, it wasn't even about Now There's Space. It was also, if I'm going to release a record that's fully who I am, then the rock needs to be represented too. So, you know, it was interesting. Some songs are exactly how they always have been for the last 2 years. And then there's some that, you know, I took the opportunity to change them a bit when I could. So
basically the album, or like the basic idea for the album and lyrics, were already done for over 2 years. And then when Crown and Chains obviously split up, you were like, okay, now I have a chance to also take a fresh, to have a fresh take on this and fully focus on the solo career. Like, do you think that made a big change to the album itself in the end and how you went about the album?
I do. You know, I had to take inspiration from the way I wrote with Crown and Chains when I wrote this record, because to be honest, when I started writing solo music, it wasn't my main thing, right? It was a side thing with Crown and Chains as the focus. And when I write with Crown and Chains, I write for a live show. Like I write these songs with the intention of how will I do this live once it's time to do it live. And I had never done that with my solo stuff before, even like Evolving. I didn't ever think I'd get a chance to really play that live like I got to with the Lonely Live show, and even with the gig I did at the Exalted student thing. And so this time around, it became, okay, if I'm gonna, if the title track has to be big, you're gonna do your title track at a live show. So what sounds do I actually want here? How can I make this a fun, like, where can the audience sing with me? Where can I step away from the mic? Where am I gonna hit the guitar? Where am I gonna switch to the drum set? And I wrote that into the production. And the same is very true of Kill Bad. That song originally had a different name, which means it had a completely different chorus. And I literally changed that song just because I need a chorus that an audience can remember super easy, that they can yell back at me, that they'll be jumping and going nuts on, that I can just go absolutely nuts on. And it's really easy to go kill a bad guy, kill it.
That song is
Anyone can
so
do
fire.
that.
It's so fire.
Yeah. So the live show became a really crucial part of this record, because now there is no Crown and Chains live show. So it's just my stuff. So I needed those songs that I could do live.
And obviously, like live music or the show, I mean, the show is literally a track on here.
Yeah.
And if I'm not wrong, like on the Crown and Chains YouTube channel, there's also a video called The Show.
Yep.
So obviously, alone like that phrase, you could say, has a big significance in your life. Yeah. So how did it feel to really dedicate one particular song on the record actually to just the feeling of playing live and being like out there?
Yeah, that was an emotional one. It's one that, it might not strike people as emotional just because it's very processed. It's very modern hip hop pop. But it is like when I'm in the car, that one gets me emotional for sure. Just because there's the reason I write and the reason so many people write and record and create is it's about the connection. And 99% of the time, more than 99% of the time as an artist, you're relying on DMs, social media posts, and numbers to see whether or not you're connecting. But at the show, I'm watching the reaction of the people I'm playing to. I can tell when someone's not vibing and not connecting, and they're really confused why I was welcomed to this set list. And
they're like, why is he here? Get him off that stage now.
And I can tell the opposite too, when someone is really, really resonating and when I've formed a connection from the stage. And that's the most important thing. And so it's crazy because I wrote that song before COVID, but lose that connection and to lose the show it's almost like you question what's the point, like what is this art if there's no way to bring it to life and see that connection that's being made. And there's actually Kill a Bad Guy is an alternate view of the show. Those songs are like inverses or parallels to each other. And Kill is like it's almost about like the addiction to the show and the way that the show can also be damaging in some ways. So there's a lot of there's a lot of themes that relate to the music industry and the live show throughout the whole record for sure.
I think also there's very much like a dichotomy throughout the whole record, which is always like this pulling you between light and dark. Yes. And even like happy moments where you seem like, okay, freedom, like freedom of mind, you're freeing your passion, you're freeing yourself. But at the same time, that can be damaging because you can drive yourself into a burnout. It can be one of the most terrifying things ever. Like this image of like opening your cage door, stepping out there, being like, holy shit, what is this world? What am I doing? Like going back, it's always this back and forth. So even like the very bright and light moments have like a gloomy darkness to them. And I think that's something that makes this record so special.
Yeah. And even like you get to the end and that song, every song on the record ends with a period, and the end ends with a period because I wanted it to be clear that like when this story is done, it's done. This is the end of the line. But in terms of what actually happens at the end, it's that song's a huge question mark. It's, there's it again has that dichotomy of is this song about, the acceptance and appreciation of life, or is it about the acceptance and appreciation of death? Because you can interpret that song either way. And I love that you said that, because I really did try to put that tension between light and darkness, and freedom and prison, and hope and fear, and life throughout the thing. Really cool that you picked up on that.
And I think that's also a very you thing, because it's also something you've talked about, you've addressed on social media, you've addressed in your live streams, which is always like hey, there's this very happy version of Daniel, and then there's this other version of Daniel, which is like gloomy in a corner, which is burned out and is like, world, please leave me alone.
Yeah, no, it's super important, and I think we all have that, right? And I feel like so often the artists we listen to, they focus on the good to the point where you can listen to the music and almost feel like I don't know, maybe this is just me. There's times where artists are so happy that it makes me feel guilty for not being happy sometimes. And I can't listen to their music when I'm not happy. It's like, you're too bubbly, like stop being bubbly. And then there's other artists who are just so sad all the time that it's like, I feel guilty for being happy and trying to listen to music. I'm like, shoot, these lyrics are real emotional. I'm not emotional. I probably I'll let you have your thing, whoever this artist is. I'm gonna listen to these other people. But, when an artist like toes the line, and, I think the key to towing the line is focusing on hope, because the time you need hope is when you're not happy. And yet hope is something to cling to that's reaching for happiness. And so, if you sit in that place, somewhere in between, somewhere in the middle, and you present that tug of war between both, you're presenting literally what life is. We're all in the middle there. We're all in that tension at any given moment. So I definitely do. I try to focus on that and try to do that, just because I think that's valuable for everyone.
Yeah, definitely. And like you said, in the times where you're feeling down or when you're in a dark place, what really like keeps you going, or what you really need then, is a sense of like hope and faith, like whatever you believe in, even if it's just, I believe that I can do this, or I believe that I can be happier than I am in this moment. And it's so important, and it's the most human thing ever, going through that, and we all go through it. So it's really nice like finding a reflection of that in such an authentic way in the music.
Yeah, that's the goal. I would love, and it has happened, and I love, and I really hope that this record fuels more of it, but people experiencing legitimate breakthrough because of the music. This music helps me experience breakthrough. It's like, when I wrote this whole record in one night, where I just really needed to process and sort through some stuff. And, I started at 7 p.m. or something like that, and finished around 5 a.m. the next morning. And I had 30 songs, 25 songs, something crazy like that done. And it was like, man, that's what I needed to hear. It came from myself somehow. I think I even say it on the It's Still Us record with Giovanni. I think it's in the intro. Sometimes it's like, I'm not even the one writing, the music is doing it for me. Yeah. It's like the music carries me exactly where I need to go. And, I hope that every time I release, that there's at least one person who the music takes them where they need to go to.
And looking back now, what could Daniel today tell Daniel back then, like the Daniel that finished writing these lyrics in the morning and now having released it?
Oh man, that's a fantastic question. Ooh, that's a really good question. That one caught me off guard. What could I tell Daniel while writing Uncaged? Oh, I think the biggest thing is just make it happen, finish it. I wouldn't change anything about the way this record happened, because it happened when it needed to, how it needed to. At least in my life, the way this record, ever since I started writing it, has been an outlet for me, because I wrote the record in one night, but the fleshing out of that and the storyline, things like that, it's like when you pick up a really good book and you escape into it and you live in it and you get away from it. Like this storyline, whenever something new happened, it became a world I could dive back into to process whatever life threw at me. And, even there's a couple songs I added really late to this record. I added I Hate Nostalgia, and I added the songs. I Hate Nostalgia was a rewrite of a song originally called Memories, and then Healing just wasn't there. And, that was me filtering my life back through that story again. And I think I genuinely had no idea how much this record would mean to me when I started. I had no idea. When I started, I had no idea there wouldn't be a band anymore. I didn't realize that this was going to be the thing. I don't think I realized like this is going to be what you consider your best work when it releases. This is going to be the first time you present truly who you are to the world. And, I think for a long time, it's going to be hard for me to top this record just because of how much really deep emotion has gone into it. So I don't know to the really long answer to tell you, I have no idea what I'd tell younger me, because I don't want to change what happened at all. I really do think everything happened exactly how it was supposed to. So.
And now that it has all happened and we're basically at the end of that story, what happens now? Like now the record is out there. What's happening now?
I'm already working on new stuff. You know me.
Of course you are.
I got plans. So as for the storyline, with it originally being a 30-song project, there's obviously a lot of story you all didn't get. So definitely stay tuned for music videos over the next year and a half that are going to come out.
I was about to say what happens with videos, because we all like us some Christian content.
Yes, Christian Carranza is the man.
What a wizard.
Yep, you'll be getting videos for every track on this record, and
gee.
And
Daniel.
There is something else from this universe that's in the works. So I can't talk too much about that. We're not even sure exactly what it is yet.
Okay.
There's now a few ideas swirling around on how to tell the other part of the story that could not be told through music. But, the story's over, but there's a lot of stuff that still needs to be told. So
that's super exciting.
I got plans.
You got plans.
I always do.
Of course, you're always working on the next 3,000 projects once you finish something. So yeah. Yep. I was actually talking to Kim the other week, and I was saying I would not be surprised if Daniel was the person to miss his own release because he's too busy working on the next 10 projects.
That has happened. That for sure. What video? I did this whole internet takeover thing leading up to this record. And there were times I was in the studio during video premieres. During my own premieres, I didn't watch the video because I was working on Uncaged, or I was working on, the next thing that's coming out soon, or it's nuts. Or actually, what was I doing on the night Uncaged dropped? I wrote an EP the night Uncaged dropped. I forgot about that.
That's what I mean.
I wrote an EP that you'll probably see within the next 12 months.
It's I'm dropping my debut tonight, but I'm not going to pay any attention to that because I'm already working on something else. Okay, bye. Listen to this. Yeah. Okay, bye.
when inspiration hits, you
over and out.
You take it. So I got wicked inspired that night. I think probably because of the excitement around the record dropping. And so I was like, I got to go write. And I went out for a walk and I sat down with my phone, and there was an EP there. And I came home and wrote 2 of them on ukulele and got the melodies done. And I was like, this is cool. Oh, my record drops in an hour. I should probably get ready. So yeah, that does happen. It's true.
But on the day the record actually dropped, how were you feeling? How was the reception?
Oh man, before it, leading up to the drop, I felt so sick to my stomach, nervous. It was there was so much anticipation because It definitely is the proudest I've ever felt of a project before I knew what the response would be. I've never felt this confident in a body of work. But when you feel that confident, it's horrifying to think that this could suck.
People
Like
could hate this. They could
this
tear
could
me apart and be like, please never
totally
make
bomb.
music again. And like all the industry just ripping you to shreds. Like, what is this bullshit? Somebody get a garbage can and set us on fire.
Exactly. Like this could totally bomb, and I was convinced I've made something unique. I've never record I've dropped or that I was about to drop. I genuinely felt that. But what if unique doesn't mean good? What if I went too far? Like, what if people get to the intro of Voices and they're like, absolutely not, and they turn off the record? Like, I honestly, with that song, I don't know if I'd blame them. It's a weird intro. So, I was super nervous about it. And then, it was 30 minutes into release, 40 minutes into release. I just sat watching people live tweet the record, people DM me about the record, text blow. It's always like chaotic release days, especially on a project that big, just because it's constant noise from other people. But it was overwhelmingly supportive and overwhelmingly encouraging, the responses I got. And so that I was like super emotional after the release, like all day, just seeing people, like it worked. It did what it was supposed to. Like I don't know what else there is to wish for. And then even like I had this goal with Kim. I don't like sharing my goals publicly because then if I don't hit them, I feel bummed out. So I told Kim, because you got to tell your intern, and I told her, like, I'm shooting for 4,000 in 24 hours. Like, that would be really cool. And Evolving got 7,000 in a week. So if we can hit, 7,000 in a couple days, that would be really cool. And we hit 7,000 in 24 hours. And it's like, I genuinely, when I presented those goals to her too, I was like, we're not going to hit 4K. Like, that's just not going to happen. This is the goal, but be aware we're not going to hit it. Don't get bummed out when we don't hit it. Like, I literally prepared her for this is not going to happen. And then everyone blew my minds, and I didn't even know what to do with it. Like, I didn't know how to feel. I didn't know. It was like,
You
I
can just
genuinely
say
was
thank
really
you. It's
shocked.
okay.
Yeah, it's overwhelming to see. I don't know. I still don't know even how to word what it
Hey
feels
Daniel,
like.
the fact that you haven't like listened to yourself as in like kill your expectations, you're trying to tell everyone to kill their expectations and you don't do it with yourself. So honestly,
I made that same joke too. I made that same joke that you would think by now, especially with the storytellers, that I would learn to kill my expectations and let them blow my mind. But they still blow me away every time. I'm not used to that. It's unreal. It's surreal. It is an honor to have so many people buy so heavily into my purpose, into what I do. I still don't know I don't know what to do with it. I still don't know what to do with all you people. It's surreal is the only way I know how to word it.
basically you're living in another fantasy world, but this time it's real. So get used to
Exactly.
it.
Exactly.
And to
Oh,
kind of tie this off a little bit, what message would you want to give to people listening to the record or like entering into that world?
oof. So many things. The biggest one, the biggest message is hope. That's everything I ever release. I have failed if hope is not at the forefront of what I have to say, and this record, I processed a lot of things on this one. There's grief and there's loss and there's like an full-blown existential crisis about death and fear of death and fear of life. On the flip side of that, there's obviously there's the same mental health theme that I always talk about. There's faith crisis, there's heartache, there's anxiety, there's social anxiety, there's all of these things on there. But in the face of all of them, desperately clawing at hope with everything you have is so important. And it's so important to realize that it's there waiting for you to grab it. Hope is always there waiting for you to reach it, waiting for you to get to it. And, you know, your story, every story's got dark chapters. Every story has, you know, you look at the hero's journey, the downfall of the hero happens in every book, every movie, every story. But there's also always redemption. There's always, you know, there's always more story to be told. So just keep writing, keep letting your story be written, I guess.
That's a beautiful end statement. The story always continues. The end, full stop, doesn't mean it has to be the end quite yet.